So, you want to be a doctor, is that right? Well, you're in luck. Let me show you around. In today's video, we're taking a walk down memory lane as a brand new player on a brand new account. It's been so long since I've experienced the Fatui or first time user experience of Arknights. In fact, I've only done it once. That was years ago. So we'll see how things have changed, but more importantly, if you're a brand new player, I'm hoping that as you see me sort of walk through the early moments of Arknights, that you'll have some sense of direction or some sort of plan to help navigate all the different options and modes and things you can do in the game. At first, it can feel a little overwhelming, but I assure you, once you go in with a very focused strategy, you'll soon be building up your roster, making progress in the campaign, and experiencing all that this game has to offer. With all that said, let us go on a little adventure to where it all began. I'm going to be making a guest account here. Now it's going to warn me that, I'll be switching accounts to do so, and I think that's okay. There's a risk of data loss. This is why it's important to link your account to an email or a Yostar account just so that you're able to log back into your account if you switch devices, play on a different device, or log out for some reason. Reinstall the game, for example.
Arknights.
Who was that? Oh, I don't recognize that voice. Terms of service. Yeah, we're good. The hardest part of the game. What is your name? This time around, I'll be Dr. Griff. For the sake of keeping this video going, I am going to be skipping the story scenes, which you can do by clicking the skip button. When you do so, you will be greeted with a little confirmation pop-up that also gives you a bit of a summary of what happened in the scenes. For now, we'll just keep the pace going. Of course, as you begin, there are some tutorial stages, so we will get this out of the way. Amia will do some basic descriptions here. There are going to be enemies that spawn in from these sort of red zones, and they will be traveling towards your blue zone, and you want to prevent them from doing so by defeating them with your operators. A tower defense game where the towers are heroes. All right, so we'll drag Texas onto the field here, and once we kind of position her, we can have her face a specific direction. She will easily defeat this enemy, I'm very sure of that. Can you imagine a tutorial fight where you lose? I mean, I guess Dark Souls kind of does that, but in this type of game, oh boy. All right, we'll get Exia down, long-range sniper that is deployed on a high tile as opposed to ground tiles. Important differentiation here. I think combat-wise, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. That's the thing about Arknights, is that it's definitely easy to learn, but challenging to master at its, when you encounter some of the most difficult challenges in the game, you'll really have to think hard and strategize with the team that you have to make it work. Teaching me how to pause. Speed up the game. You have little life points at the top. It's like how many enemies can you allow into your blue zone or your base before you're defeated and you lose the stage. Always try to go for a perfect run. As much as you can, try to go for that max HP run, because it's really important as you go through the campaign levels that you'll earn some valuable resources, some valuable currency by doing so. We're just going to speed this up. Your operators will have skills that you can activate. Oh, she beat me to the punch. I was about to activate it, but
Awaiting orders.
all right. Yeah, she can only block 2 enemies. I'm gonna have to, I'll play it the way it wants me to play, and then I'll kind of go into some more detail later. Oh, we got a big guy coming in. Doberman, definitely a great operator. Oh no, she's in trouble, so of course Amia has to go help. All right, caster on the high tile. Defeat this guy. Speed this back up. There you go. Look at these heavily armored units getting blasted by the arts damage characters like a caster. Arts is basically like magic in the world of Arknights. You want to think about it as like physical damage and magic damage. Basically arts damage. Okay, we got a bunch of people coming in. Let's activate some skills. If you just select an operator, you can see information about them, like their stats, but also what's really important to remember is their block count. So Liskarm here can have 3 enemies blocked before they start leaking faster.
Awaiting orders.
Texas can only block 2, but her ability just mowed down a group of them, so that's fine. Tutorial complete! Oh man, that was difficult. I was on the edge of my seat there. Okay, now this is where the whole point of this video is really just to go and explore what it's like to be a brand new player and see how they sort of help us navigate here. Okay, yes. All right. Explaining everything. Let's see if it forces us to go anywhere first. Oh yeah, headhunting. Before you even get a chance to do anything, you can recruit operators. You can headhunt for them. Oh, it's not letting me do anything else. I guess we'll just pull our first operator. Boom. Who's it gonna be? Jessica? Oh, Vigna. Okay. I don't know if it's random. I don't know if it's like predetermined. Some of these games, they just have a predetermined character that they always give you when they're doing the tutorial to teach you how to summon. All right. Enter the squad page. This is where you can sort of pre-organize your team. You really don't have to always do this ahead of time. Really, Arknights is about flexibility and just swapping out operators in and out. It's important to understand that there are stages where it's not so necessary to have 2 defenders, or it's not so necessary to have multiple medics. So just keep that in mind, that flexibility is at its core the most important aspect of building a team in Arknights. But getting started, it's good to have a balanced roster for sure. All right, it's telling us to add Vigna. Nice. Let's go back home. Nice. Okay, they're just getting us to go into the campaign through the main theme here. Evil time. It's evil time. 0-1. Stages will cost sanity, which is your daily stamina, your allotment of energy that you can spend to actually go into stages, especially stages that provide rewards. But you'll find that as you play through the game, there are some stages and modes in Arknights that don't require sanity. But earlier on, it's not really something as relevant. Oh, this is giving me nostalgia. You know, going through these early stages. I remember I was so excited when I first started playing. I was like, oh, I could put an operator down. Let's get our Vanguard, Vigna, that we just pulled out early. As she kills enemies, she will generate deployment points, or DP, to help us get more of our operators out. We'll put Mia here like this. Because Vigna can only block 1, I placed Mia here in the center facing up so that she can attack whoever's in front of Vigna, but then also any enemies that slip past Vigna too. So the most amount of coverage. Now I have lots of deployment points, so I'll just put another defender, a 3-block defender, Norcorn, behind Vigna. We'll get a sniper out as well to help. And now we're just cruising. You want to congest these choke points where all the enemies will be funneling in so that they're basically just blocked by your ground operators while your ranged operators up above are just raining down fire. So right after we completed that campaign stage, they're showing us missions. So these are sort of just passive objectives that you can complete as you go through the campaign and do various actions, powering up your units, that kind of thing. And then you can just collect rewards for them. Clear main storyline 0-1, which is what we just did. Got some experience cards. And yeah, just come back to the missions page whenever you just make some progress in the game. Okay, so they're just throwing us into this tutorial stage. And sometimes you'll have stages like this, as she's explaining, that have fixed operators. So you can't customize the team. They're giving you a very specific set of operators because they're trying to show off a mechanic or teach you something. Later in the game, during like the limited time events that come and go, they often use these stages to just show you what new gimmick the enemies have for those events. These upper tiles with like the little black and yellow circle in the middle, it's so confusing because it almost looks like you can't deploy an operator there, but yeah, you totally can. If you're ever unsure, when you click and drag or tap and drag an operator, it'll show you what tiles they're eligible to be placed on. So for example, Hibiscus here, ranged high tile operator, can be deployed here, 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 here. We'll have her face the 2 other operators so that she can heal them. Although we only have 2 enemies left, and I think they're toast. And there you go. Oh, okay. Oh, Hibiscus joins us. All right. I totally forgot that that's even something that happens. Like, operators will join as you go. Maybe I'll pick up some good operators early on. Medics. Okay. So they're introducing different classes of characters. I usually use quick select when I'm building a team. You can search based on specific roles. So let's say, oh, I want casters. It'll just show me the casters, the snipers, and so on For now, we'll just do all because honestly, we don't have a very big roster and we can pretty much see everyone we need here. All right, looks like we're officially logged into the game at this point. We've completed the initial tutorial that's sort of offline. Okay, so we did our daily calendar, basically just rewards for logging in each day. Looks like we have some new player calendars. So once again, additional rewards just by logging in. So we got our first day claimed. We have some early missions. Really, these are just sort of to encourage you to explore the game a little bit, get further in the campaign, logins. Yeah, just lots of rewards for logging in. You have our mail. If you ever see the little notification icon by the mail, you want to check it because you'll have tons of rewards. There's some good stuff here. Let's see, do I have enough for a big pull? No, not yet. We'll clear whatever missions we have. Take a look at our operators. Yeah, everyone's cool. Let's see if it allows us to use these items. Okay, so there's this little depot button on the bottom right corner, and this is sort of your player inventory. This is where you have all the different things that you've collected, little bits and bobs. One thing that's really important out of the gate when you're a brand new player is that you have a couple of recruitment tickets. So it looks like there's one ticket that allows you to select one of 4 different 5-star operators, which is the second highest rarity. So we have Silence, Liskarm, Praminix, and Project Red. And then from the other 5-star operator, I think it's, let's see, does it let you pick almost everybody? From a pretty big selection. So from this ticket here, which lets you pick from quite a wide range, I'm going to personally pick Spectre, but I think you can't go wrong with Spectre or Lapland or Blue Poison. But I think that generally speaking, having a reliable ground unit earlier on is quite helpful. And I would definitely avoid some of the more niche units that require sort of the rest of your roster to already be relatively built for them to be helpful. Like Sora, for example, I would just avoid. Praminix, I would avoid. Mayor, I would probably avoid. So just like some example, Cliffheart. I mean, you get a copy of Cliffheart for free just by logging in for the first few days. So I would just avoid her. But yeah, generally speaking, Spectre or Lapland, solid, totally solid. I'm gonna go with Spectre though. Crazy Nun. For this one, it really comes down to, in my opinion, Liskarm or Silence. I'm gonna go for Silence. I think having just a solid medic that's very versatile is going to help you early on. Honestly, if you've already gotten past this stage and you've picked your operators, it's fine, you'll survive. But just to make sure that I have a strong ground unit and a really capable, flexible healer, it's gonna be great. But Liskarm is also quite fun too. Really great defender. Olivia Silence. So glad to see you. It's who I used for a lot of the early game. Okay, so we've pulled those operators, and we can, when we select the little operator management button, this is where we get to see our full roster basically. Typically, you'll be going to this menu to inspect and power up your operators. For example, from this menu, there are different things that we can do. So if I click the little plus icon by their level, we can spend experience cards to level them up. And I'm just gonna max her out. I'm just gonna go 11 levels in by clicking the little 11 there. So you can manually drag to like customize how much experience you want to invest into them, which can be kind of important early on when you want to carefully allocate your resources. But for now, I'm just gonna go all in. I'll give Spectre the few experience cards that I've collected. Promotion is when you ascend your character to the next major tier of power. You will be required to max out the character's level as well as collect a few important materials. So not something to really get too concerned with early on. Potential, when you collect multiple copies of the same operator, you can get little bonuses by spending the duplicate coin that you'll receive instead of the operator when you get more than one. So for example, if I summon Spectre again when I'm pulling in the gacha, then instead of receiving Spectre, I'll receive the Spectre's kernel token, and I can spend that to level up her potential. I can also use these 4 copies of these class-based tokens, but you don't get too many of these in the game, so I wouldn't count on relying on these to level up potential. But really, most of the time, the grand majority of the time, potential is really a nice to have aspect of the game. So there are some games like Genshin Impact, or well, actually the Hoyoverse games in general, where if you have duplicates of a character, they just become exponentially more powerful. And some might even argue that certain characters are not worth using or worth using whether or not you have multiple copies of them. But for the grand majority of the characters in Arknights, especially for the way they've balanced this game, it's more of a luxury than it is a necessity most of the time. Operators will also have their skills, which you can click on to see descriptions of them, as well as the ability to upgrade them by clicking the upgrade skill button. Once again, this is something that will require certain materials in the game to use, these little like pieces of paper, these summaries, and we'll acquire them later on. I wouldn't worry too much about this. You can click on the little icon below the skills here where it says Centurion, which is this sort of subclass of guard for Spectre, and you can find out a little bit more information about them, mainly their traits and their talents. So you can find out, talents are basically like their passive skills. Operators typically won't have a passive skill until you've promoted them and ascended them to a higher tier power, so you'll discover them as you go. But then traits are something that's pretty important to know about each character's class and their subclass. Up at the top, we have this sort of brainstorm looking web icon here, and this is basically a lore menu for each character. You can find out more about their backstory, which unlocks progressively as you continue to use the character and build trust. You can listen to some of their voice lines. You can unlock cutscenes that have to do with the character's story, once again, as you promote them to higher tiers of power, once you build up trust by using them a lot. And then some operators have like a little mastery tutorial stage where you do a fun little challenge, and it's a free stage to replay. And by clearing it for the first time successfully, you'll get like a little bit of currency that you can use to summon more operators. So that will become unlocked as you develop the character further. There's also a little icon that I don't really use, which is this rook icon at the top. You can select the operator. I think it's sort of like a way to favorite them, perhaps. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think maybe you just highlight them or favorite them, but it's not something that I typically find myself needing to use very often. Okay, so that's our roster for now. We have a sweet guard, a caster, awesome medic, a backup medic, some vanguards, defender. So that's our roster for now. And now it's like, okay, well, where do I go? I feel like I don't even know where to get started. Well, it's pretty straightforward in that you don't have that many things you can really do until you get further into the campaign. You'll see that there's like these highlighted images that are faded out. These are sort of limited time events that come and go throughout the game. But when you're a brand new player, don't even worry about this stuff. The main goal is just simply to get as far into the campaign as possible and to essentially just power up your units as far as they can go so that you can then beat the next challenge up and the next challenge up incrementally. The more you try to rush it, the more you'll feel overwhelmed and it'll just be a lot to handle at once. Let's go to work on the campaign. We're going to click on the terminal, and then from here, it'll show you the most recent stage that you just cleared. So if you want to continue from there, that's always helpful. What you can also do is you can just click on the little icons on the bottom. So like the main theme here, these other ones are not available at this time. Well, it'll even tell you when you try to click them how far you need to get into the story to get access to those modes. So really, let's just go through the story. All right, Evil Time, stage 02. Once again, it's all about choke points. So we're going to just get Spectre right in the front here. And she's just going to be mowing down these enemies with her incredible saw. We can put Amiya in front of her to attack everyone who is also entering. We can put a sniper in to do the same. And now you'll see that just all the enemies that are coming in are just immediately under fire. We can put silence below them so that she's keeping everybody topped off. And then maybe Vigna in front of Spectre as just additional damage support. And one block so that anyone who gets leaked through, you know, can easily be handled by Spectre and the ranged operators. But very straightforward stage, so. Becomes more interesting as the stages open up, and feature multiple lanes and multiple avenues for enemies to go and sneak past your operators. All right, so now they're teaching us about recruitment. So recruitment is sort of like the more or less free version of the gacha, but with more limited rewards. So when you recruit an operator, you can select certain tags, and after a set amount of time, you can come back to the game and find out who has joined your roster. This is a great way earlier on to acquire potential for getting multiple copies of some of the more common operators. It's very, very, very rare to get a top tier, top rarity operator through this method of recruitment, but it's possible. And when it happens, you have to be careful because you really don't want to squander those opportunities. What will happen is that one of these tags will be glowing yellow to help reinforce the idea that, hey, maybe you should select this tag. And the one you really want to look for is top operator. If you see a top operator tag, then a 6-star is very likely to be showing up. Otherwise, there's also senior operator, which means that a 5-star operator is going to be recruited, or at least very likely to be recruited. It is a real shame if they don't end up coming home. But for now, let's just grab a DPS unit. I'll set it to 9 hours, so that way you really only have to set it to 7 hours and 40 minutes to ensure that you're at least getting a minimum of a 3-star operator. The amount of time that you put in will affect the cost, but I think early on, I think they're not even charging us. So we're just gonna do 9 hours. And then basically the more time you put in, the more likely it will be that the operator that you recruit is actually one that matches one of the tags. So even if you have the tag, it's not necessarily guaranteed that that will be the operator that you get. So we're just gonna grab a DPS unit. So actually a DPS melee unit. Or ground operators. Melee range. Yeah, let's get a defender, because I think right now the only defender that we have, 3-block tank kind of operator, is Norcorn, which is a 2-star. So if we could replace him early, that'd be great. So these two operators are currently in the process of being recruited. If you happen to have expedition tags, you can spend them to immediately finish a recruitment. So even though it's 9 hours, if I have one of those handy, which you'll collect many of them throughout the game, you can just instantly recruit as you go. It becomes a part of the daily routine. All right, we completed a mission because I see a little notification there. So we'll just go collect whatever rewards we got and we'll go right back to the story. It can be overwhelming at first when there's a lot of different menus and things to select in the game. But as long as you have an idea like, okay, what's my goal right now? I'm just gonna work on the campaign storyline. Then that's it. That's all you need to really focus on. All right, so we're doing a tutorial stage here. We have our lovely sniper rangers taking out these slugs. Oh, so this stage is basically teaching you about the fact that there are stages where there are multiple lanes and enemies will be coming from all the different lanes towards the exit. And because rangers is just deployed facing north, he can't attack the enemies that are slipping behind him. So looks like we're gonna have to deploy another sniper. All right, let's get Adnakiel down. So nice of that slug to just sort of wait there until the characters finish speaking.
Let the hunt begin.
So ideally, what I would typically do is have a character like Rangers facing to the west so that he could be attacking any enemies that are coming in. But in this case, we're stuck with the way he is right now. You have to be careful when you deploy an operator, because if you pull them back out and you retreat them, it takes quite a while for them to actually be able to be deployed again, with some exceptions. But most of the time, it's something you have to consider. You want to make every deployment count as much as possible. What's the best value you can get for a character in whatever spot that you're putting them in? All right, now this stage, it's communicating to me that aerial units will also be present because there is a little drone icon as well as the enemy entrance point. So the thing about aerial enemies is that only certain types of operators can attack them. So we can get Rangers to attack them because he is a sniper. And then Amiya can attack them as a caster. But then all my ground operators, like Spectre, can't, or Vigna here that's currently down and deployed, cannot attack the drones that are flying over them. There are some exceptions. There are certain ground operators that specifically have the ability to attack enemies whether they're in the air or on the ground. If you chose Lapland, for example, as your 5-star from the selection, then she's a Lord Guard. So a Lord Guard is a type of guard that can attack aerial enemies. They're sort of like ranged ground units. We'll get Spectre down, we'll have a healer. And you're seeing that, like, I'm going for maximum coverage here, right? Everyone's sort of, all the enemies are converging into the line of sight of all these operators in a one sort of congested point. More tutorials. Get the weird white stage. I don't know if they're gonna ask me to do anything in particular, but you know what? I'll even put the Vanguard at the very end. That way the snipers have more time to whittle them down. Oh, more aerial drones coming in. Let's skip the tutorial text. And as the drone flies in, it's taking its sweet time. The pathing was a little awkward for that one, honestly, but luckily it flew into range of my operators so that they could be shot down. Nice. Whoa! Jessica joins the team. 4-star sniper operator, who is actually not bad. Like, worth using early on, I would say. Snipers have long range that can deal with air and ground units. They are the backbone of your squad. I don't know about that. Come on. You know, every operator has value on the team. Thing with snipers is that most of the time they're really great when an enemy has low defense, but for the tankier, bulkier, armored enemies, then you're going to want casters most of the time in those situations. I'm not sure what how the enemies will be entering here, so we'll see. I'm gonna put Jessica here in the center. We can just be patient. Maybe I'll put Vigna here. She's just tearing them down. We'll put Adnakil down as well. Perhaps over here on the left, facing up. Okay, there. So they're flying in from above. And we'll get Amiya to help with that too. She'll be in range. We'll get a healer down. Poor Adnakil is not in range of silence at the moment, but it's okay. What's nice about Jessica is that her skill is automatic, and it's just sort of like a very casual, you know, set and forget the operator, and then she'll just be pumping out some extra damage every few shots. Whereas certain characters like Amiya and Adnakil here, you kind of want to time the usage of their abilities when they'll make the biggest impact. But because the stage is pretty simple, we'll just activate the abilities. Go blast them all! As you complete the stages, you'll get a bunch of important things. You'll get experience for your account level. You'll get some LMD. This is sort of like the currency of the game, like the general use gold that you can use to do various actions in the game. So recruitment, leveling up characters, promoting characters, leveling up skills. I think there's many things in the game that require spending LMD. Never something you want to have in short supply. Some more experience cards as well. Okay, so now that we've completed a couple of stages, it looks like it wants us to go into this screen, and this is basically, I think, the tutorial to teach us about leveling up an operator, which is something funny enough that we did already, but we'll do it again. Individual levels in Arknights don't make a huge difference. Like a level 15 operator and a level 18 operator is very, very minute in terms of stats. But what's very important is that when you level up characters quite a bit and then also promote them once you've reached max level, then you get a lot in the way of overall stats, but then also access to more powerful skills and talents and things like that. Looks like we have some missions cleared, so we'll just collect some more rewards there. And then now we have a bunch of missions we can clear. And what it's asking us to do here is upgrade the various classes. So upgrade a medic to level 10, a sniper to level 10, and so on and so on. It's encouraging you to kind of balance out your experience across your roster overall. Okay, on the main menu, there's this little archives menu here. It's not something that I would worry too much about, but basically here is like your glossary of all of the enemies, the characters you've unlocked, and how they relate to other characters in the universe based on the region that they're from. There's this intelligence section where you get to see the storylines of the various events that have happened across Arknights. and it's not something that I would spend too much time worrying about because it requires this currency, these little video reels, these film reels, and you'll acquire them over time throughout the game. Put this menu in the back burner once you become more invested into the story, once you've gotten further along in the game, and once you have access to those film reels, you can go back and go check out some of the storylines of some of the old events. Okay, let's jump back into the campaign here. We're just gonna make some fast progress. We're gonna use this little shortcut on the bottom right to take us back to where we last found ourselves. And we got the next tutorial stage where Operator Fang will be helping us out. This is the first character that they introduce here that generates a lot of, basically fulfills like the truest form of what a Vanguard is meant to do besides Vigna, is really just generate DP, become a DP printer, as some doctors might say. So Vigna, much like Plume here, their archetype is that they have one block, they attack quickly, and whenever they defeat an enemy, they generate 1 DP. But if there are too many enemies, they can't often handle them on their own unless you have the character Bagpipe, who will just mow down everyone. But beyond Bagpipe, typically you'll have these other Vanguards that have 2 block, Pioneer Vanguards, place Fang down. And she's more of like a well-rounded unit, not super powerful, but her main goal here is just to generate deployment points over time. What's nice about Fang as well is that her talent, which I don't have unlocked yet, is that she can be retreated and she will return all the DP that you spent to deploy her. So you can put her down, generate some additional DP, retreat her, get all that original DP back, and now you have a lot of points to spend on different operators. So that's the first 5 stages. Oh no, we got this one here. Okay. Vanguards, low deployment. Let's add Fang to the squad. What's interesting is that the game is slowly introducing the different classes and their purpose and their role and why you want to deploy them on your team. All right, so here we have an interesting case where the exit, there's many paths to get to the exit here. So I'll put Fang down here and then Vigna, and these two will just sort of hold the door for a bit. We'll get Amiya out to help damage wise. We can do the same thing with Jessica. Oh, what's interesting here is that for a moment I actually thought that the second lane at the bottom was going to be more utilized by the enemies, but I guess not. I thought, okay, enemies are coming from the north and the south, but no, they're just funneling in from the top here. Put Spectre down. And that's it. There's no way these enemies are busting through. Even the drones, they're getting shot down by the snipers and Amiya. So I'm sure that what they'll do is that they'll have the same stage, except they'll do a twist on it where they have enemies coming in from both paths. Sometimes I think they do that early on with the level design, is they'll show you something and then they will kind of twist on it a little bit to keep you on your toes. Or maybe not, maybe that's, oh, there you go. The very next thing, okay, classic. Okay, so now 2 paths have opened up and there's also 2 exits. So something that we have to also be cautious about. Okay, so we'll get Vigna down and then we'll get Plume down as well. There we go. They're both of the same archetype, so they're both generating DP as they get kills. We'll get Fang down behind Plume. We'll get Spectre down on the north side. Because Spectre is more powerful than Fang, I'm gonna put Jessica down on the bottom side first. But it seems like they were able to handle themselves easily enough. Let's get a healer down on both sides. Whew! Plume took some damage. Alright, stabilize. There we go. We'll activate Plume's skill here. Help her out. Like right now I feel like there's more power on the upper quadrant than on the lower quadrant, so I'm paying more attention to what's going on down here. Just because Vigna and Spectre are so powerful compared to Plume and Fang. Just in terms of like raw offensive stats. And they're higher rarity operators too, so. Alright, now they want to teach us about leveling up characters' skills. Alright. So we've collected some of these summaries here. These are the common variant, these white pages. There's also green pages and blue pages. We'll use that to level up her skill, and we'll see that, oh, look at that. We're getting more powerful here. But where is Spectre at? There you go. Once you get up to a certain point though, it's going to start asking you for additional resources. Okay, we've cleared some missions. Actually, you know what we can do? We can spend some of these rewards and just top up some of our operators. So let's get silence up to level 10. And then let's get Vigna to level 10. Early on, it's very inexpensive to level up characters, so don't worry about spending your cards. Characters get progressively more expensive to level up and power up and ascend and promote as they get further and closer to their max capabilities. Once you get into higher levels of promotion, that's when you have to start making careful decisions. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Maybe we'll get Fang. I'll leave Fang at level 1 for now. That's fine. All right, we cleared some of the missions because we upgraded a Vanguard, Sniper, and Medic. We got some more skill summaries to level up their skills. For the time being, let's just continue the campaign. We have Cruz joining us. Great sniper. If you summon Cruz early on, there's nothing wrong with leveling her up. You'll use her throughout your entire Arknights experience, believe it or not. We'll get Fang down here. Heal her out. We got Durin, little caster. Where are we gonna put you? Oh geez, we'll put you there. Not optimal, but sometimes having arts damage is helpful. Realistically speaking, the 2-star operators are more of a meme than anything else. There's some clever and creative ways you can take advantage of them. Like, I actually use Durin in my squads for a mode called Stationary Security Service, but her only purpose is to be dropped down and then immediately replaced by another operator. So I won't go into details. Sometimes these characters still find a home somewhere in the game. Stage 07. Now it's teaching you about borrowing operators from friends. So if there's a stage that's giving you a lot of trouble and you just want to pass it to get to the next one, you can borrow operators from other players and you'll have access to a wide variety of different operators. You'll have like top end, top tier operators, but the only thing is, if you clear a stage with a borrowed unit, you won't unlock the ability to autoplay and farm that stage again. So if you are clearing a stage hoping that you'll be able to continue clearing that same stage over and over again, it's best to try and do it with your own operators so that you have that ability to just sort of auto farm that stage instead of having to manually play it each time. Unless you have a lot of fun doing that. Sometimes I do that when I'm bored. But for now, we won't borrow an operator. Oh, you love these kind of stages. Basically, everyone just chokes into the center here. High physical defense. We'll need arts damage to deal with them. That's fine. For now, we'll just put Vigna in the center here. Spectre behind her. And now we're basically cruising. I'll put Fang down as well, just to like generate some TP in the background. We'll get Amiya down. Get Jessica. We'll get Adnakiel down as well. And then we'll get Silence to basically heal everyone in range here, except for poor Fang, but that's it. One thing I noticed that new players will do is that they will sometimes panic or sometimes, without really understanding the strategy behind each stage, just place their operators here, there, and everywhere. And sometimes you can luck out and that will be fine to clear a stage, but you really wanted to get into the habit of the mindset of how to get your operators to work best together to deal with the strategy that the enemy is trying to use on you. Now, in that case, we could have split up our forces to the north and south side and sort of have sort of a somewhat strong defense on either of those flanks. But in this particular layout, it was so much more effective to just really consolidate all of our power and have all our teammates work together to kill every single enemy quickly as they come in through the center. Okay, so we've acquired enough experience by clearing these stages to level up our account. So our sanity, our stamina for the game has restored, and now our maximum sanity cap has increased. Oh, I wish I could still do that. I hit the max a long time ago. We'll just continue on. It's kind of funny that they're giving us the, like, I'm unlocking lower tier operators later on, Or maybe it's just trying to give us potential for them. I don't know. But technically, I guess I did have rangers. Durn alone cannot eliminate everybody. Okay, so let's get a 3-block defender to stop them from funneling in. And we'll get another caster to help out here. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Beagle, who I see join my squad way too often when I'm recruiting operators through the tag system. Oh, this is new? Okay, 12F. For some reason, I thought he was already on our team. Oh, no, we had... I confused him with Rangers, what? Okay. Yeah, this guy is like a AoE caster. Not an operator you want to rely on too much early on. Yes, auto deploy. After you complete an operation, you can automatically replay it as long as it's a replayable stage, so not like a tutorial stage, but like say 07 for example. Because we cleared it perfectly with no enemies leaking through, we were able to get basically 3-star the stage, or in this case like 3 hexagon the stage. We can then autoplay. So if I click the little autoplay tag here, I can, and I'm so glad they added this later in the game's lifespan, that I can say, okay, you know what? I want to farm this stage 6 times. So it's going to spend 36 sanity. I have 131 available right now. And it's just going to replay that stage for me, drain my stamina while I generate resources. So in this case, I'd be farming for this little sugar substitute, and then with a chance of getting these other rewards, but not really an efficient stage I want to be farming. Now that's something that they don't really show you in game. So for example, if I go back to the depot here, let's say this sugar item, and let's say I need it for something. If I click on it, it'll show me all the different places where I can get this item. So here in BB2, BB1, which are currently not available to me, they're locked, but they're also rare. Whereas if I clear 07 or clear special 26 or stage 26, I don't know what the S stands for actually, these are guaranteed. But typically when they're guaranteed, sometimes they're spending more sanity per clear. It doesn't really show you in game like what is the most efficient. Typically you will want to go on to Google and you can just type in like Arknights farming efficiency, and you'll get a link to like a little chart or a graph where it'll show you all the different key materials in the game and where it's best to farm them. However, early on, it's not really as important because you won't have access to all the levels. So I would recommend that in your early days, once you reach a certain point where the next stage is just too difficult to clear and you're really just focused on getting materials to level up your units, then just use whatever stage is available to you at the time, because your number one goal is simply to get to those more efficient stages and those higher tiers of power. Once you get to those stages, that's when you can start to get a little bit more strategic with how you spend your resources, because you'll have all the options available to you. But your number one goal is just to get over that next hurdle. Okay, so let's jump back in. Where are we at? Stage 08. Some casters like 12F have very high deployment costs, which is why I don't really want to use them. Oh, they're highly encouraging that I bring him on. Okay, fine. I'll take out Yato and I'll bring in 12F. Let's see how badly I need him. Now what's interesting here is that I have Spectre, right? So if they're encouraging me to use AoE damage, then a guard that can attack all the enemies that they're blocking is going to be pretty handy here. Okay, so behind Spectre though, let's get Fang just to help bolster a high block count overall here. So we have Spectre is able to block 2, Fang is able to block 2. We'll put Vigna on one side here. We'll put Plume on the other. And then we'll get Silence kind of just watching over everybody. And then here we can have Amiya facing to the right. So I don't want the enemies to walk past Amiya, past these 1-block operators, and then not take damage anymore from her. So she's going to work there. We'll get a sniper up here, a sniper down there, and that's it. 12F, I don't need you, man. Sorry. I mean, it's a tutorial, or not tutorial stage, but it's like an early stage, so they're going easy on you. But you can see here that the enemies just have no chance. Like, they are just constantly up against a wall, and they're constantly taking damage while being held back by those ground operators. So we have Lava. She's basically just an upgrade to 12F. a 3-star AoE caster. Now the thing about AoE casters is they get a bad rap as a class and subclass, splash caster, because of how many points they cost to deploy versus how powerful they really feel like they are. There are a few exceptions. Some splash casters can be quite fun, and maybe there'll be some cases where they'll feel necessary. But if you deploy your operators in such a way where they have good coverage and they can hold off enemies carefully enough, then that AoE damage from those casters isn't as necessary. We're just gonna do the same thing here. 8, 9. Let's get Vigna down. We'll get Plume down. Now the enemies are coming in pretty quick, so maybe they're not taking that much damage, so I'm just gonna get the DPS out first. The snipers I put down before Amiya because they are cheaper to deploy. Amiya costs 18, so. Oh, looks like we're gonna need some healers. I'll put Silence up here. I'll activate her ability. Get Vigna doing extra damage here. Ooh. Spectre, I'll activate your ability. Let's get some damage out. Get some extra healing. Activate everyone's abilities. Go, go, go. This stage is really trying to emphasize, hey, you should run a splash caster with you. But no, my characters will hold. I mean, as you can see, I don't even think Fang ended up blocking anyone just because enemies couldn't actually even get through all of that meat to get to the Fang at the end. Side missions and various daily missions are also important. Okay, now we have access to a wider range of missions, including dailies and weeklies. Let's get through this. Oh, there's no claim all? Oh, man. Pinboard missions, there's a couple more things I gotta do there. Dailies, you can just collect all. Variety of different ways you can clear these. Weeklies as well. Honestly, if you're just playing the game and you're just clearing stages, spending your stamina, going to your base, which I haven't really had a chance to do yet, if you do sort of like the main routine, like a very simple routine, you'll always have all the dailies and weeklies cleared. It's not like anything weird or abnormal that you have to do out of the way to get them done. Let's get some characters leveled up. You know, let's bring Spectre up to 20, and then we'll do the same for Amiya. We'll get Silence up. I'm prioritizing my higher rarity operators, so it's kind of funny because they end up being more expensive to level up anyways. I'll level up Jessica. So you'll notice that I could have leveled up Spectre to like what, 30 something, but instead I can get a bunch of operators up to 20. There you go. So I'll just balance it out a bit more there. Oh, we got another mission done. Get an operator to level 20. Complete one difficulty operation in supplies. Use drill plan to complete any stage one time. Okay, so 09. Tutorial 7. Okay, here we go. Quora, 4-star defender, who is super solid, literally and figuratively. Very high damage enemy. Watch out. Uh-oh, is Fang gonna die for the sake of this tutorial? Looks like it. Fang, no! I'm gonna retreat you. Oh, I can't even retreat you! This stage is cruel! Alright, Quora is a very durable tank. Doesn't do very much damage at all, really, but is very famous for being a solid 4-star operator that can hang out with the 5 stars and the 6 stars. Because as a 4-star character, she is inexpensive to invest into, but she has such durability and also the ability to regenerate her own health and block an additional enemy beyond the base level of 3. So she can block 4 enemies, have incredibly high defense, heal herself. Just, you know, good luck getting through that baseball bat. It's so sad too that like, hey, we're gonna show you how to use Quora, but then here's Beagle as the reward. Okay. We have so many operators. We don't need Lava. We'll put in Beagle as a defender. I'll organize my team a little bit later, and we'll take a look at, you know, what a balanced starting roster might look like. Okay, so this stage has like a really big open area, and it's kind of bait because really everything leads into this small choke point in the end. So we'll get Spectre down here. Get Vigna in front of her. So we have some DP generation, a strong backbone, and we'll get Beagle behind Spectre. So like, if they can somehow get past this 1 block operator and this 2 block operator, there's a tanky 3 block operator as sort of like the final straw. We'll get silence here because I'm not too worried about Beagle taking damage. I just want to leave these spots open so that I can put Amia down here so that she can attack whoever is coming in, as well as Jessica. So now this tile in front of Vigna, Amia can attack it, Jessica can attack it, Vigna can attack it, and if they get any closer, just the damage continues. Oh, he's taking a lot of damage. I want to make sure this drone goes down, so I'm just going to have a Nakiel in the back here as like a just in case operator. Like just in case enemies creep too close, he can fire pot shots at them. We'll put one additional healer down. So now we have both Silence and Hibiscus healing the heck out of Vigna. That's it. We got Ansel. Oh, isn't she cute? Another great medic to have on the team. Good value. All right, new resource skirmishes. Okay, now things are starting to open up a little bit in the game. So we have the campaign and those campaign stages, but there are also resource stages. So these are stages that are really meant to be farmed, and they provide different types of resources depending on the specific stage that you choose. So for example, we have the tactical drill, which is EXP cards. Like that's the #1 and sole thing that you're going to be farming that stage for. We have the resource search. So this is for materials that are used to upgrade the base primarily. So this is something that earlier on in the campaign or earlier on in your new player experience, you're going to be needing more base resources, but eventually you get to a point where you no longer need them anymore. Like I haven't touched these items in a very, very long time. So sort of something that you need to do early, but then once you're done, you're done. We have the aerial threat. So this is for those skill cards, the summaries, which are used to level up operator skills, skill level. We have the cargo escort, which is currently locked. That's for LMD. Like, oh, I'm out of gold, I'm out of money. You just go specifically for LMD there. And then you have the tough siege, which are for these special red certificates that are used in a very specific shop in the store. So more of a luxury, less of a something you want to be farming for immediately. But the key thing is that these stages are on a schedule. So for example, the aerial threat, it's only available Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and they just constantly rotate. The experience stage, the tactical drill, is always open. And then there are these other stages on the right for certain classes, and this is where you farm for these chips that are used to promote operators. So it's the only main place really to acquire them. So if you want to promote Spectre, for example, you would need to go to the Fearless Protection stage. So it has guard and specialist chips, and because she's a guard, you're going to need to get some guard chips for her. So you'll be going to these stages relatively often whenever you want to sort of bring your operators to the next main stage of power. But for now, we don't really need to spend too much time in here. I would avoid farming here unless you have nothing else to really do for the day. So let's say, for example, you're like, I don't have too much time, I just want to dump all of my stamina. Do the highest level stage that you can possibly complete in these levels, and then focus on that. So for example, let's do the tactical drill. We'll get some more experience cards, because that's something that we need tons of, especially early on. And we'll jump into this stage. And I'm sure it's not too difficult, but I remember early on, one of my goals was like, how do I get to like the highest possible EXP stage or LMD stage that I can possibly clear. Now, each of the stages, they have sort of a gimmick. So like that aerial stage, for example, you really need anti-air operators to do well there. For the experience stages, deployment points will not recharge, so you have to be very careful. So I am definitely going to place Fang first, because she's going to help generate those deployment points that I need so badly, and then we'll get Vigna down to help do the same. But she'll be doing so by clearing these slugs that come in. And I'm just going to hold off on deploying other operators just for a bit until I really need to. Oh, I'm going to need to. Okay. We're going to get Vigna to come back. put Spectre down. And we're just gonna let Fang continue to generate DP. We'll get Jessica down as well, actually. I don't want us to be overwhelmed by these enemies. Ooh, there's a lot of enemies coming in. Let's get... no, we're good for now. Spectre is so strong. Like I said, AoE guard just mows down the enemies as they come in. We'll get a healer down, just in case. And now we can start deploying more operators. Let's get Emiya. Let's get... I don't know if there are enemies that can attack my units on the high tiles, so I'll put Adnakil here so that he's in range of silence. And then I think I should be okay. Like, I don't want to get rid of Fang, because if some big thing happens... Okay. There are enemies with these glowing green eyes and like the shorts, and they're just running in, and these enemies cannot be blocked. So you have to deal enough damage to them before they get to the exit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Spectre's skill to make sure that they take damage. I'm going to put Vigna down as well. There we go. Okay. Made me nervous for a second there. But yeah, there are cases where even if you have a tanky, bulky defender that can block 3 enemies, those little shorts runners, they'll just get through. Okay, so the next stage up recommends operators to be level 20. Let's just give it a try. Like, you know, okay, so there are these... You can practice. You have 30 of these practice tickets a day. And it basically means that you can go into a stage without spending any stamina. And you can just see, you can sort of test and see how you can possibly beat the stage. Or if you're not too sure what kind of challenges are going to present themselves, practice first, see what happens, and then when you feel confident, then go in spending stamina. You know what? We're so confident, overconfident. We're just going to jump in, because if we can perfect the stage, it means that we can auto farm it. Okay, so we have aerial enemies coming in. We want to get, once again, Fang out, and then we'll get Jessica out quickly too, because we want some anti-air going. And then once that aerial unit is down, we have enough points to deploy Vigna, except we'll deploy her here because we want to be able to deploy Spectre behind her eventually. Just like that, yeah. And so far, so good. We'll get Adnakil here for just a wide coverage, just to make sure that we attack these aerial units effectively. Ooh, let's get a healer out. I'll put silence here because I'm not too worried about Jessica or Fang taking damage. Basically, how enemy aggro works is that when you have a unit like this drone, if there are multiple allies in range, the drone will attack the unit with the highest taunt value. And the highest taunt value generally is just the unit that you deployed most recently. So in this case, it'll be Emiya. But because Emiya is in range of silence, oh gosh. I'm getting this like PTSD of the game telling me, hey, you should bring these AoE casters. That's okay. Okay, so they're all coming down this one choke point. If I need to, I'm gonna drop Beagle, but yeah, you know what, I think I will, just to be safe. There we go. Let's get some extra healing out. So what I did here is that there were just too many enemies coming in all at once for Vigna and Spectre to handle on their own. And then I didn't want anyone getting too close to the exit, so I put Beagle down just to sort of be a body blocker so that Spectre and Vigna had enough time to kill some of the other enemies coming in. And then I retreated Beagle later because she didn't do very much damage. I could have actually retreated Vigna as well. There you go. So now we've perfected LS2. So now we can auto deploy on this stage. But do we go for... Okay, without even leveling up my operators, I'm gonna try LS3 with the squad I have, and let's see what happens. Okay, let's take a look. It's recommending level 40 operators, which I definitely do not have. Same thing, we get Fang down immediately because we want those deployment points to be generated. We have these guys coming in. We're gonna put Vigna up here this time. And then we'll put Plume down as well. So now we have 2 different vanguards that will generate DP on kill. Although she's having a harder time. Okay, we finally can deploy Spectre. It's looking pretty scary, but I think we'll be okay. We'll have Spectres facing left. Doesn't really matter. Oh! Oh no, 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 no. It can get pretty rough. Okay, because even though I was spending stamina to clear that stage, because it was the first attempt, they give you a full refund, but otherwise you would lose 1 stamina each time, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it adds up if you just keep running it back. That's why it's important to practice first. Okay, so what we can do is we actually collected some experience cards, so why don't we just level up some of these operators a bit. We'll get Vigna to be a bit stronger, and we can get Plume. Where's Plume? Oh yeah, let's send her to level 15. And yeah, let's give it another whirl, you know? Oh, we got a bunch of missions completed. We got dailies, weeklies, bunch of other missions. Okay, we have more experience cards. Let's make sure Spectre is as strong as possible. Ooh, can we level up her skill? Nope, we don't have enough of those little rocks. Let's give this a solid attempt. Once again, we need Fang immediately. We'll get Vigna out immediately. This time I'm gonna do something a bit different. I'm gonna get Jessica out just to help with the damage. Okay. Ooh, Fang is taking a lot of damage. Okay, so I'm gonna switch it to 1 time. I'm gonna retreat Fang so that I can... Come on, Jessica, kill this guy. There we go. Perfect. We'll get Spectre down here. Activate Vigna's skill. We'll get Plume down as well. And AoE guards, you rock. We'll get Silence down to help with healing. Oh, AoE or aerial units are coming in. Oh, we have no more DP generation, guys. Oh boy, this is gonna be rough. Oh no! No! Oh, could not get a perfect. Is it doable? Will the enemies all leak through? Oh, it's rough. It's rough. Let's get more damage out. Holy moly. Oh, Spectre is down. Okay, okay, okay. I would recommend you come back to this once you're a little bit more powerful, but LS2, you can do that right out of the gate. So use that to get the experience cards you need to level up the rest of your squad. But for now, we can just continue with the campaign. Oh, actually, we have generated enough resources where we can actually start summoning for operators. So in the headhunting, this is where you will summon operators off of their banners. Now, as a new account, a new player, you have this exclusive headhunting service where you have a discount for 20 rolls. All events guarantee at least 1 6-star operator and 1 5-star operator. So out of 20 pulls, you'll at least get a 6-star. So it's probably, you only, like, this will always be on your account, and you really just want to get this out of the way because you could get a pretty solid operator out of that. Otherwise, you have access to the event banners that are going on, as well as a standard banner that just sort of rotates various characters. If you're gonna be starting when the next banner comes out, the next big like limited banner featuring W Alter, Wizardel, and Logos, these are 2 characters that are coming out soon. You definitely, you know what, I would even like take a break from this starter banner and just pull on that one, because if you can get those characters, you're cooking, you're cooking. So okay, so let's get this out of the way. 10 pull. Oh, all right, so that fire means that we got a 6-star operator. So great. Yeah. You'll notice, oh, there we go. So we got 1 6-star and I think 1 5-star because we had 1 yellow sheet of paper. Matoi Maru, 4-star guard. Oh, I wish she was better, but she looks cool. Vanilla, she's okay. Vanguard that can deal a little extra damage compared to Fang, but I just like Fang's flexibility more. That talent I mentioned earlier. Oh, speaking of which. Meteor, pretty simple, basic sniper, deals some decent damage. Melantha, really durable, 1 block guard, but is really great at dueling difficult enemies as they come in. We have like 1 big tanky guy. Ansel, another healer, or copy of a healer. Okay, 4-star, oh, I got excited there for a second, I'm not even counting. Gravel, she's a specialist. She's what's called a fast redeploy operator. So it's an operator that isn't that powerful on their own. They can't really like hold giant waves by themselves, with some crazy exceptions. But generally speaking, you will place them down to sort of deal with certain threats, retreat them, and then place them down again somewhere else. It's kind of more of a tactical operator. Fang, hello Fang. Okay, 6-star operator, what are you gonna be? Come on, let's get Mountain. Mountain would be a great start. Weedy! Oh, okay. Really niche operator. So Weedy is a specialist that is centered around pushing enemies away. And there are some stages where you could push enemies into a pit and then they'll instantly die. So that's always fun. Or she's good at stalling because enemies will be coming in and she'll just constantly be pushing them back. So in a way you can help sort of buy time for your other operators to kill them. But not really like just a solid backbone of a team. She's more of an operator you would invest into if you already had like a fully built roster with like a solid defender and a guard and all that stuff. But we'll use her. Air Scarp, I like this character. Lord Guard, ranged unit, can provide attack speed to those around him. Okay, so that's our first one. And then we'll pull 10 more. So I don't have enough currency, but I can spend this Originite Prime, convert it into this Arundum, and then do a recruitment. Now the thing is that this is sort of the premium currency in the game. So if you want to play free to play, you want to be able to purchase things like character skins in the game. These cost Originite Prime. So you have to be really careful about choosing to spend these. You can spend them to refill your sanity. As a new player, I would not recommend it. I would focus more on summons or in the shop. You get my letter? Yes, I did. Yeah, I can't skip this cutscene actually. Yeah, being introduced to the store. First tab in the store, recommended. They're just gonna show you whatever like new highlight packs are out at the time. So we have like the starter pack, it's all real money stuff. You can buy headhunting permits, so this is like summons. They're doing something new with this update where they have these summons that you can buy that are exclusive to the specific banner that's out. So the like ending like death banner, these pulls are only good for that banner, which is why they're relatively discounted. Just a variety of interesting packs here. So this is recommended. Originium, this is basically premium currency. This is where you buy like the, you know, the stars or the primo gems, in this case the primes. We have packs. We'll go through the different packs here. Okay, so we got this pack for a new player, total login 7 days, starter fit-in pack. It's good for 2 weeks before it's gone. For $1, you get one Originite Prime, some chip etcher. I'm not sure what that is. I think you just select maybe one of those chips I was mentioning it to farm for later. It's a battle record, it's a rundum. Skill summary, tactical record, basically a bunch of stuff. For $1, it's a good deal. I'm not going to be telling you know, if you want to be free to play, but you know, like if you're going to spend a little bit of money, sure, $1. Exclusive headhunting, you get for $1 for 2 pulls on the current event banner. If you want Ascalon, sure. $9 for a 10 pull, pretty solid. Specialist chip pack, I would avoid this. Like it's kind of like a luxury. You can just farm these later on. In terms of the amount of sanity that you would spend versus being able to just collect all of these resources right now, $5 is actually not a bad deal for that. So it's really something that like if you're just going to be spending a decent amount of money, then I would not feel bad purchasing this pack. I've purchased a couple of these types of packs before, and I haven't regretted it, but it's not a priority pack if you want to spend, like, you know, if you're being very cautious and you're on a budget, I wouldn't spend money on that. The ID info update card, this is just to change your username. If you made a mistake or you're unhappy with it or you just feel like a new coat of paint, you can do that. You get one for free and then you get one that you can buy. So if you're really indecisive and you want to keep changing your username for some reason, you can spend money. Starter pack for $1. You get, I mean, you recruit Myrtle, who's a great Vanguard. So 4-star operator, but I mean, you'll summon her anyways, but you get a pull, you get some LMD, you get some drill battle records for $1. Technically, these 2 packs here are better value. Yeah, not bad for $1. I'd buy that for $1. Starter advanced pack, you can promote a hired 5-star operator to Elite 2 level 1 for $15. Oh yeah, okay. So you can just basically like supercharge one of your units right out of the gate. I mean, you could do that for Amiya because technically you have to promote her for the storyline, but you can promote whoever you want. It has to be a 5-star operator though. Elite 2 is basically the highest tier promotion. So you have like the Elite 0, Elite 1 and Elite 2 stages of progression for your operators. You get a monthly card as well. So the monthly card is here, normally $5. And you just basically log in each day and you get some additional random for your summons. So 600 is how much for one pull. So 3 days gets you one summon. You get some Originite primes as well, and you get extra sanity. The number one reason why you would want to subscribe with the monthly card is for the additional sanity. It makes clearing the events, it makes clearing so much of the game really nice and cushy. Otherwise, you might not have enough sanity naturally to clear all of the events and all of the rewards, which is fine. Getting all the rewards completely cleared out is a luxury. Getting all the best rewards, you can do it totally free to play. It's not a big deal. Starter Advanced Pack, I would say it's, you know, pretty solid, especially if you're going to be buying the monthly card anyways. $14.99, I'd say get that out of the way. Okay, Starter Headhunting Pack. You get 20 pulls for $20. So now the value is starting to get a little bit weaker, but still strong comparatively, because for example, the monthly Headhunting Pack, you get one 10 pull. So it's 10 pull instead of 20 pulls, but you do get 42 Originite primes, which are more flexible. You can spend them towards a 10 pull, you can spend them towards skins. That's $26. So the starter headhunting pack for 20 pulls is not bad. The chip choice pack, this is basically you being able to just pick chips to help promote your operator in a particular way for $2. You get 2 a month, pretty good price if you want to just save on stamina and just, you know, get those items immediately. Material issue voucher pack, $5, you can get 2 of them a month. You can just immediately get some of the higher tier materials, this kind of stuff. Now, because my account is so far along, I don't really need this stuff. I can comfortably farm for all the materials I need well in advance for any new operator that comes out. But if I was a brand new account and I was willing to spend money, I used to buy this weekly growth pack every single week back in the day, after I was free to play and then when I started spending in this game. This thing sucks. $10, it is not a good value for what you get out of it. I'm not going to go into the details here in terms of what you're getting, but for $10 comparatively to what else is out in the store, I would have bought this material issue voucher pack, this monthly chip choice pack. I would have bought those all the time, but I do regret spending money on this weekly growth pack. It's just so outdated, and I really wish they would go back and fill it with an amount of resources that feel more worthy of its price point. Because between the events, you'll have limited time events that pop up where you'll have similar types of packs that just give you so much more bang for buck. Starter upgrade pack. I think this might be an old school pack as well. It's okay. The starter upgrade pack and the weekly growth pack are kind of like, eh. Yeah, that's basically a summary of the packs that are currently available. Certificates. This is where you'll spend most of the time in the store. So basically, as you collect duplicates of characters, you can exchange their tokens for certificates. So common operators, like the 3 stars and 2 stars and so on, they will generate a lot of the green certificates. So here we have 3 stages of a shop. And generally, you can totally ignore the 3rd stage and focus on the first 2 here. But basically, as you pull operators, you'll be able to clear out the shop here and get some additional rewards. And then this will refresh every month. So it's going to refresh in 15 days. Usually what I recommend is not to worry too much about emptying the shop out until the new month begins. If you're like let's say you're starting and the shop is about to refresh, I wouldn't bother spending your green certs, because really you want to get to tier 2 so that you have access to all the different important resources that you need. However, the Arundum can't go wrong with this one. You know, can't go wrong with, you know, getting some Arundum for your green certs. Even LMD or the experience cards are pretty solid, but I wouldn't probably prioritize the other options here. That's about it for the green cert shop. The headhunting permits, you get like 2 summons for $240 each. It's a little expensive. Okay, now for the distinctions or the yellow certificates. This will be an important store if you're free to play to target specific operators if you want to save up for them slowly over time. On a cyclical basis, you'll have different operators show up in the shop. So we have Blemishine and Scotty that are priced at 180 yellow certs. These are both 6-star operators. Then we have Cantabile and Praminix, who are both 45 cost because they are 5-star operators. And every time these operators cycle out, you'll have different opportunities to guarantee a summon for these characters. The thing is that yellow certificates are a bit harder to acquire. They require pulling, I believe, 4-star or higher operators. Generally, 5 stars and 6 stars will generate the most amount of them. And by exchanging the tokens that you get for yellow certificates, you can slowly save up for a specific operator. Now, in my case, if you're a later stage user, it's a little bit less important to target specific operators unless you really want their potential upgrade by getting a duplicate of them. Usually I'll spend my yellow certificates on headhunting permits. I think this is also viable for a new account only if you plan on going the whole way. So I don't think it'll show me here, but the cost goes up for every tier. When you buy this headhunting permit, there's phase 1 through 5. So first you'll get 1 headhunting permit, then 2, then 5 pulls, 1 10 pull, and then 2 10 pulls. So you get a total of what, 28 pulls? 28 pulls in total, but it costs like a ton of certificates. Like I think it's like 180 certificates or something like that. Something close to guaranteeing one of the 6-star operators. The thing is, if there's not really a specific operator that you're really looking for, and it's more important to you to have pulls to access current banners, or say like an event banner or something like that, then, and maybe your roster just isn't that full of great units, maybe you're just open to summons because you're hoping to get a chance at collecting a variety of different units that might be helpful, then I would get the headhunting permits. But once again, because of the whole shop refreshing every month, it's really important that you only go for this if you are 100% certain that you'll have enough yellow certificates to max it out. Because it would feel so bad to get up to like phase 3 or 4, not have enough yellow certificates to get phase 5, and then the store refreshes. It's not worth it. So there's that. I would ignore everything else except for the module data blocks, but as a new player, I would completely ignore this and never even think about it. Don't even worry about it, because it's not something that's going to matter for a long time. So it's basically just the end game, the absolute end game of powering up your characters. You've maxed them out. You've done everything you could with them. This is going to push them to like one next step above, but it's just not necessary earlier on. Earlier on, it's much more important to build out a roster of great characters. Now, the blue certificates, this is something that I really haven't spent much time engaging with. As far as I'm aware, the blue certificates can be attained by converting those duplicate coins you get from the characters, the kernel tokens. When you get a character dupe, you can go and upgrade their potential. But what you can also do is you can exchange those dupe tokens for blue certificates, which can help summon various operators. But I just haven't spent much time with it. The blue like kernel headhunting system is more related to older operators. So as a later stage account, it's not really something that appeals to me at all. I think it was designed for newer players to sort of help target specific operators they're looking for, because you can customize a banner. But generally speaking, I'm always chasing after the newest current operators that are out in the event banners. Maybe I would recommend the same. Maybe I wouldn't bother too much with the blue certificates. I think getting potential up on your operators is usually just a great thing to do anyways. The red certificate. So earlier on, we saw that there was different stages, different farming stages that you could do. The experience one, the resource one, and so on. One of them was to farm red certificates. Now here, there are a select number of operators, 4-stars and 5-star operators, that can only be obtained from this shop right here. So if you have lots of stamina on hand, and then maybe there's an operator that just looks really cool that you want to recruit on your team, you can go and farm that red certificate stage to get enough points to recruit them. Now, I have only obtained 1 copy of each. I haven't bothered getting multiple copies to get their potential up, just for collection's sake. The main operators that I would recommend getting here are Pudding, Ethan, and Honeyberry. Pudding is a chain caster who can hit enemies and her attacks will bounce between them. She's pretty decent. Ethan is a specialist operator and ambusher who is placed with 0 block, and he's a melee unit who just sort of constantly attacks everyone around him, slowing them, CCing them. So he's good at just disrupting waves of enemies and slowing them down as they're coming in. Honeyberry is just a really great healer. And otherwise, I think Breeze is also a healer, and Canny Platt is a caster. Diamante, I actually don't know. I can't remember what he does. Ports is like a guard, and Caper is a sniper, I think. They're okay. But yeah, just off the top of my head, Pudding, Ethan, and Honeyberry, you can't go wrong with them. But honestly, like, Honeyberry costs so much, like 600 red certs, that all those resources spent farming the red certs, I just don't think is worth it early game. I think you'll have a roster of capable units before you need to go and dip into this shop. But it is an option. However, once you get further into the game, these module data blocks, like if you have red certs to spend, collecting these ahead of time is not a bad thing. It is good to build up a stockpile of them because they are very limited to get, and they only give out so many of these each month. But once again, as a new player, I wouldn't prioritize them. Chip Catalyst, however, can be quite important because this is what you will need to convert chips of a lower tier to chips of a higher tier. And why do you need that? You need chips of a higher tier to promote your operators to Elite 2. So let's say we have Spectre, and I get Spectre with the materials that she needs, and I get some guard chips, some basic guard chips. I take her to Elite 1. Now, because she's a 5-star operator, I believe 5-star and 6-star operators both need higher quality chips to promote to Elite 2. So I would need chip catalysts to do that. And you don't get too many of them early on, so you may be coming back here every once in a while, spending red certificates to get chip catalysts so that you can take your operators to Elite 2. Your higher rarity operators to Elite 2, mind you. When you're brand new, you're not really focused too much on getting Elite 2 operators right out of the gate, so just something to keep in the back burner for now. The information fragment, these are those film reels I was talking about to unlock some of the lore from the previous events. Not a priority in terms of progression, but something that you can just spend red certificates on later on if you're interested in watching those cutscenes in-game and not on YouTube. We have a bunch of tokens to help upgrade your operator's potential, including royal tokens for casters and defenders to get a 6-star operator's potential up, which can be like super awesome, but they're so expensive because you need 4 of them, and each one costs 720. So only go for these if you literally just have so much stamina, it's just coming out of your head and you just don't know what to do with it all. These next 2 tabs, you can, well, they actually give you 200 points to start. That's crazy. Yeah, you get these certificates when there's a limited banner. As you pull on a limited banner and you build up this currency, which can be used to guarantee certain operators on that banner. Once that banner expires, whatever currency you have left over gets converted into this parametric model currency, where you can spend it on like just certain upgrade materials. So I wouldn't worry about this store too much. Finally, if you're a brand new account, you will probably not see this for a long time, but basically intelligence certification is for veteran players that have experienced the same limited time events more than once. So when they do a rerun for an event, let's say there's like the Super Sandcastle event, then maybe like 6 months, 8 months later, they bring back the Super Sandcastle event. Like, well, I already did that event as a veteran player. So to compensate for you doing the same event again and acquiring the same rewards, you can earn some of these certificates, which are used to clear out this shop. As a new player, you're experiencing all these events for the first time, so you won't have to worry about that for a while. And that's basically the shop. Let's go back and do one more 10 pull. We'll do the starter banner again and see what we can get. Ooh, I think because I already got a 6-star, does that mean I don't get a 6-star again? Oh, I got 2 6 stars. Okay, and I get a couple of 5 stars. Okay, well, that's good. Maybe I consider that to be lucky. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I think out of the 20 pulls, you're only guaranteed to get 1, but maybe I just got an extra one. Okay, we got Moose, 4-star Arts Guard, I believe, 5-star operator. We got Tsukinogi, not a very good operator, but she looks cool and she has some cool skins. Okay, 6-star. Oh, Thorns, baby. Thorns is so good. You get Thorns. Okay, the thing with Thorns though is that there are certain operators, certain high rarity operators, so like 5-star, 6-star, mainly 6-star, that only really show their true potential at Elite 2 promotion. So Thorns is pretty good. He's like okay at Elite 0 and Elite 1, but once you get him to Elite 2, which allows him to access his 3rd skill. So 6-star operators get 3 different skills they can choose from. With Thorns, his skill 3 is the skill. So for a new account, I would use him and slowly chip away at building him up. But the day that you get him to Elite 2, I wouldn't rush it, because then you're going to set back the rest of your squad too much, because it's very expensive to promote a 6-star operator to Elite 2. But once you get to that point, you are going to unlock some crazy potential out of that guy. Asbestos. Okay. Okay, cool. You know, not one of the best defenders, but one of my favorite characters in this whole game. Beagle, get out of here. I got Asbestos. I don't need you. I'm gonna make sure you fail that internship. Okay. Vanilla. I mean, I don't know who else we got here. Let's take a look. Oh, another copy of Tsukunogi. What? Okay, so 20 pulls. Let's take a look here. Okay, we'll go by rarity. Okay, so for our 6 stars, we have Thorns and Weedy. Weedy, like I said, is a bit more niche than I would have hoped to have in a starting squad. Still usable and still helpful. Spectre, Emiya, Silence, Airscarp, Asbestos, Tsukunoki can sit on the bench, basically. You know, this is a decent roster to start with, so let's customize this right now. We'll just get our roster here. Okay, so let's look at guards first. So we got Thorns, a range guard, Airscarp, a range guard, and then Spectre is sort of like our Centurion guard who has a higher block count and can, well, she gets a higher block count after you promote her. She starts off with block 2, but the Centurions, they can actually get block 3 once you get to Elite 2, which is pretty good, but she's just good in general. Then let's get a defender. We'll get one defender only because I feel like Spectre is a good enough operator to fill that niche. Durable, but also dishes out a lot of damage. And then you can always flex in another defender if you need it down the road. Snipers, we'll get Jessica and Cruz. Emiya for caster. Get Silence as our medic. We'll get Weedy in as our pusher specialist. And then let's see here. We get Fang and Vigna in for vanguards. And then what are we missing here? What could we use more of? Let's do one more summon and see what happens. Let's summon once on this banner, and then I'll get the 6-star operator and we can all celebrate. Nope. Lava! What's the game trying to tell me? This is actually a good opportunity to show upgrading potential on operators. Now that I did a bunch of pulls, I'm gonna go into the operators menu here and click on the little notification, and it'll let me know what operators need attending to. So Tsukunogi, I can increase your potential. Are you sure you want to use the token to increase potential? Yes, and I'm not going to show that anymore. The reason why they added that warning, because that warning wasn't always there, I believe, is because they want you to consider converting these tokens into the blue certificates, I believe. I don't know why it's asking me multiple times. Like, didn't I just click on do not show again this session? Oh, is it because it's doing it like on a per character basis? Come on, game. I mean, you'll do this more often when you have a new account and you're getting duplicates of common characters. Later on, you're not going to see those messages so often. Level up Thorns a bit. Oh, level 2. One thing that's important too is as you use your operators, you build trust on them. So let's take a look at Spectre, for example. So on Spectre, I have the little trust meter and I can see that I'm at 6%. This can go up to 200%. As you go from 0 to 100%, your operator will gain a bonus stats basically. So Spectre right now is getting some additional attack based on how far I've got her trust up. Once you got trust up to 200%, what it means is that if you lend it out to another player, then that player will also get the bonus stats from their trust. Up to 100%, I believe it's just exclusive to you. At 200%, other players that borrow it can get the bonus, as well as the higher levels of trust are necessary to unlock some of the storyline related stuff. Yeah. So here it's like reach 150 trust, 200 trust, and so on. To build trust, you need to use operators in stages that cost sanity. So it's great when you're farming a stage to bring operators that you need when you're auto playing. So sometimes that's a reason why you would go back to a stage you've cleared before and clear it again with a different set of operators so that you can make sure that those operators are the ones that are earning trust when farming that stage, especially if the previous operators that you were using beforehand are operators that you're not really using anymore, or operators that are already at max levels of trust, because you don't want to miss it on that opportunity to build that trust up. Let's do LS2 with this new squad so that I can develop trust for them. I'm very confident that this squad will be able to clear this. We'll get Fang down. Get Vigna. Oh, we need Jessica out. And then we'll get Cruz out as well. And now we just need to wait for some more DP. I'll get Vigna down here. We can put Asbestos down. Ooh, I might need to get a healer out. I don't want Vigna taking too much damage. I'll activate Vigna's skill. And Asbestos' skill. Oh, actually, her skill is not really offensive, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, we'll get Thorns down. Has a ranged guard, a lot of coverage. We'll replace Vigna with Spectre, and we'll get Air Scarp down here as well to help that giant wave of enemies that just came in. But I think we're fine. We'll get rid of Air Scarp. Let them get closer to Spectre, who's a bit more powerful. Activate his skill. You can get the AoE guard down, sure, why not? Or AoE caster, I should say. Okay, so now I will save this lineup for auto deploy. Yes, I will save this new lineup. And then now I can just auto deploy on LS2. So I can hit that little check mark. I can clear it up to 4 times because I have 71 stamina. But as you clear it, you'll level up your account. You'll keep refreshing your stamina. It'll be a lot. So that's basically it. So now at this stage, I can just build up some resources, or I could continue the campaign. And then eventually I'll unlock the base and other areas of the game, but really that's the main focus. So the key thing early on is that you want to see if you can clear the highest tier resource stage that you possibly can clear perfectly so that you can auto replay it, and then power up your characters as far as you can go. Focus on powering up sort of like a balanced roster of units, and kind of keep everyone, you know, you can kind of evenly level them up. You can kind of like get everyone to max level, and then you can start thinking about promoting units. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna get, you know, which unit do I want to promote first? So like, for example, in this squad, I would probably consider leveling up Spectre to E1 first to get access to her second skill, which can be very, very powerful and clutch when you need a unit to clear a lot of enemies in an AoE fashion quickly, but then also to gain incredible durability for a period of time in case you're dealing with like a boss, right? Like a boss that would otherwise kill your other operators. So she's really great to have at Elite 1. Silence gets an ability that allows you to place a drone down anywhere where there's a deployable tile on the map and heal everyone around her. Something to consider when you're looking at the different operators, like, oh, what kind of skill are they going to get? I'm going to click on an operator, click on operator training, takes me to this menu automatically, kind of redirects me here. And then when I go to promote, I can actually click on this little details button, and it'll show me the skill that I unlock when I get to Elite 1, like Thorns, which, and also Air Scarp, all these like Lord Guards. Not only will I get a new ability and a talent, I'll also get increased range. So a Lord Guard being able to attack 3 tiles away in front of them, really great, especially if you're stacking a couple of melee units in a row. You can have Thorns far in the back, then you can have like Air Scarp or something like that, and then you can then have like a defender in the front, and now you have this whole row. You have Spectre, you have this whole row of melee units just all attacking, even though they're, you know, further apart from the enemy. Also, his talent, he deals physical damage, but then he leaves like this poison, this arts damage poison on enemies that he hits. So that would be another, actually a decent reason why you would want to bring him to Elite 1. So something to consider. You know, you can just go and inspect each operator and decide what will work for you. I think I will leave it at there. Oh, actually, let's go take a quick look at friends. So friends list, this is basically where you could go and say like, you know, why, hello there, Doc. And you can just see information about your account. You can add friends. You can search by username here. You can set your support unit. So right now I can only send 1 unit. You can basically set 1 unit up to 5 stars and then 2 units at any rarity. But I think I have to get further into the game or something to unlock the ability to do so. But this is the unit that you're allowing others to borrow if they want to borrow it. No one's going to borrow my character because hardly leveled up at all. Just good information to know. And then on the home screen, you can switch out who your assistant is. So we could set it to Spectre. We'll do Asbestos. We'll do Spectre because she was the first 5-star that I picked up. And then we have her skin, which I don't have. We can also adjust the position. So I can, like, you know, move her around, have her hiding down there. And, you know, there's other things you can do to customize your background. You can switch the background, which also changes the music. You'll unlock more as you clear all the different events and all the modes in the game. And then you can also change the UI as well from this screen. And then that's about it. So we covered the store. We took a quick look at archives. We know missions, calendar mail. Okay, that's the new player experience in a nutshell. The key thing is just to have a sense of focus and strategy in terms of how you want to progress your account. The most important thing early on is get a few summons out of the way, have sort of a baseline roster that's sort of well-rounded, some guards, a defender, some snipers, some casters, a healer, maybe even 2 healers, but that can sometimes be a little bit overkill. Actually, you know what? I'm going to replace Lava with Cancel. So we have 2 healers, we got some vanguards, basically just a well-rounded team. Do your best to sort of evenly distribute experience across all of them, slowly chip away at building up your roster, and have your primary goal be 2 things. 1, get as far as you can in the campaign. The goal here is just to get further into the campaign so that you can unlock more content in the game to explore. And then in addition to that, in these supply stages, do your best to farm up as much experience and LMD as you can if the stage is available, based on the highest stage that you can possibly complete on autoplay. There's going to be a day where maybe you just don't feel like playing Arknights that much manually. You can log in, maybe have like an emulator or something on the side, and just basically click, you know what, LS2, clear it until my stamina runs out, and that's it for the day. Collect your daily rewards, and that's about it. That's pretty much the early game goal. As you progress into the game, things start to blossom and open up, and you get to experience all kinds of crazy stages and cool bosses and difficult challenges to overcome. It's something to look forward to. But in the early days, just keep it simple. Don't worry too much about like the limited stuff that's happening at a given time. You'll get there eventually, I promise, so long as that you're having fun. If you thought this was helpful, or if you thought I totally missed on something that was super important, drop a comment, let me know, remind me, and then otherwise, yeah, I hope you had fun, and we'll see you in the next one. See ya.